If you can't stop overthinking, whether it's overanalyzing every tiny decision, trying to plan for every possible outcome, maybe replaying conversation or preparing for worst case scenarios, I get it. I used to live in my mind almost all the time, constantly worrying about the future, and I was trying to control and solve everything through thinking, until one day a very important mindset shift happened to me, which completely changed my relationship with overthinking and the way I live my life. And that's why in this video I would like to tell you my story and also share some useful tips and resources that can help you to stop overthinking. For many years, even I was constantly thinking and constantly worrying. I didn't even question it. I didn't see that there is some issue, that overthinking as a problem. I didn't even know that overthinking is a thing. It was just part of me, part of my life, something that was happening as a habit, something that was happening all the time, but I didn't have awareness to see that this overthinking is not really me, that I have a choice to do it or not to do it. I was focused only on solving certain problems that were happening, and this constant thoughts, which is part of the process. I remember very well being stuck in these loops and this thinking for a very long time, with maybe some strong but probably unconscious belief that like this I will arrive to the solution, I will get a relief, I will solve the problem, or I will get what I want, I will make the right decision. And the problem is that I didn't question it. But do you know how they like to say, like 50% of the solution is kind of becoming aware of the problem. At some point in my life, even I was already on my self-development journey and like inner healing journey for many years, I arrived to the point when I decided to start following Eckhart Tolle's teaching. I was listening to his audiobooks and watching his videos on YouTube and was trying to do what he's teaching. That if you don't know, mainly he's teaching to be present, to be in the moment, the meditation, and kind of not following every thought that you have, and to become a bit disattached of your thinking, to make kind of space between you and your thoughts, and become aware of this space between thinking. When I start practicing this every now and then, I remember how difficult it was, because when I was catching myself in these moments of a lot of thoughts, a lot of thinking, I saw them as some important thing to do. I really saw that kind of inside me there is some part or something that really believes that I can't stop thinking because I need to find a solution, I need to solve this problem. But I was still trying to do it. I was doing it more than once, until finally at some point I really felt, not just understand with my mind, not just took it as some nice idea, I really felt that like, wow, thinking is not solving the problem. Overthinking is not doing anything, it's not really helping, it's just draining my energy. It's keeping my focus in certain loops that are not going anywhere. And the thing is, maybe for someone it sounds such an obvious thing, especially if you look video about how to stop overthinking. But what is important, not just get it as an idea, it's important to feel it. Because when we start getting strong enough motivation to change something, then it becomes much easier. And strong enough motivations come to us when we feel on kind of all our levels, and consciously and also subconscious level, that that's what we really need. I like how Tony Robbins usually says, if you have a strong enough why, you will find how. So usually if we have strong enough reasons, we can find how to do it. We can find all the motivation and disciplines and habits how to do it. But when this shift happens of realizing very strongly that's what I'm doing is not really helping, that was my first shift. And after this shift, things start improving very quickly. I start catching myself again and again on this moment. Like for example, I'm going to sleep and I see how my mind is racing, how all this thinking is happening. And at this point, I already know that I don't want to do this. This is not helping. And even when I know this, it's still so difficult just to stop. I'm feeling in this moment like a kind of giving up on finding a solution. I'm kind of giving up on doing something about this thing that I'm thinking about. But when I started doing it again and again, I noticed that it's not hurting me in any way. It's only helping. Because sometimes you may be in the situation that you really found a solution through thinking. But how I see it now, after all these years of experiment, it usually happens not because you arrived with thoughts, but maybe while you were thinking, you were processing also some emotional states, some maybe charged emotional energy in you. And while you were thinking, you were feeling it, maybe in the same moment. And when the emotional energy went away, the kind of certain space you're more calm, and in this calm state you can get new ideas and new solutions. And that's how it really works. But for some reason most of us really believe that we arrive to the idea by thinking about it, by having this constant inner dialogues with ideas, solutions, pros and cons, and all these kind of things. So once you saw it maybe more than once that it is not working, and usually the solution comes after you stop the thinking and maybe after you process certain emotion or what was behind it, then the solution comes. And when it starts happening more and more, the more I start practice meditation, the more I start practice mindfulness, presence, all these kind of things, more and more I saw that overthinking is a huge energy drain that usually will leave us not with a solution, but will leave us tired or emotionally exhausted, and we'll just not do anything. But it's not always that easy, as I'm saying here. There are other things under overthinking. As I already mentioned about emotions, if you have a strong emotion that is stuck in your system and your body, and you didn't process it, and you're trying to solve it with thinking, the emotion doesn't go away if you don't feel it, if you don't release it, if you don't process it. And thinking continue happening under the energy of this emotion. We feel the tension of the body. Mind replies with the thinking. But if we switch our focus and we remove it from the thinking, we move it to the body, to the processing the emotion, then once emotion is released, we can see that also all the thoughts disappeared. This was described in the book of David Hawkins, where he teaches his letting go technique. I have a video review about this book, I will link it here. And in this review I explain how I was using this technique to work with emotions. So if you see that maybe under your overthinking there are unprocessed emotions, you can try this. And I have also a lot of other videos about processing negative emotions on my channel. There is a full playlist on the topic. Another thing that I was struggling with, that also causing overthinking without us realizing it. If we have a dysregulated nervous system, a nervous system that's stuck in survival mode, that constantly prepared for danger, that constantly in stress, it's very difficult to not think, because it's a defense mechanism looking for a solution. Nervous system becomes dysregulated in childhood if we didn't have safe environment, if we were living under certain stress, if we were feeling there is some danger, if we were feeling that they always need to be alert, if the nervous system never have a chance to develop, to being flexible, to shift easily from sympathetic and parasympathetic mode, it can be stuck in the survival mode. And I have a different video on the topic where I explain how your nervous system can block your motivation. Because when the nervous system in the survival mode and it's constantly in tension in the body, stress in the system, forces your mind to think, because if you're not doing anything kind of actively with your body or something else, the illusion of activity comes from the thoughts. And that's how body creates this thing. So in this case it could be a bit difficult just to stop thinking. You need to do something about your body, about your nervous system, about your relationship with yourself. And if you see that you're also struggling with motivation, for example, to do things that you want to do, or maybe you starting but then you giving up very quickly, maybe this is your nervous system. Because in this video I explain how you can be stuck in survival mode, and if you're stuck in survival mode, you don't have enough energy for the growth or expansion motivation, the motivation that you need for new things, for big goals, for dreams, like for growth in general. Because I was working with myself on all these levels, but here I specifically want to recommend shifting this relationship with your overthinking. And I have a video review that I made. It was, I think, around 4 years ago, when I was reading Eckhart Tolle books and practicing present and meditation. I was doing it for several months, and then I made a video where I shared 5 changes that happens to me thanks to this teaching, thanks to these books. This video, I just watched it now before to make this one, and I saw that it's actually very inspiring. I'm talking there from a certain state of a person who was actually for several months was meditating quite a lot, were following the spiritual teachings, were reading these books, and I'm sharing all these changes that I experienced. And if you want to do something with this overthinking, to change this habit, I think if you watch this video and if you catch this inspiration and this enthusiasm that I have there, I think it can help you to get this enough motivation to really start doing something about it. And while I was watching this video now, I noticed that certain things that I was just trying there, they really became part of me, because I'm talking there also about intuition, how I start relying more on intuition instead of trying to figure out the solution with the mind. In this, like 4 years ago, I was just starting doing it, and now it just became part of my life. When I see that I can't make a decision, I can't find a solution, and I start thinking, I stop myself and I'm just asking myself, okay, let's stop thinking, let's just be present, calm in the body, and trying to search what really feels right. What is the impulse? To do something about it, or maybe not to do it, to do this or to do that. And this kind of skill, this kind of habit I developed in this specific period when I was making this video. If you find a way to stop your overthinking, or more realistically, to reduce it like I did, it will change your life in many, many ways, because you will save a lot of energy that you're using for overthinking, and you will find that you're more present, you can do more things here and now, and that it becomes more easier to make certain decisions and to kind of understanding what you need to do here and now. If you like this video, you can always subscribe to my channel, because I have a lot of helpful topic on self-development and inner healing and spiritual growth, and I will continue posting. So if you have any question, you can always leave me a comment below.